Hello friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums today with a continuation to a video that I did previously in this whole little Show Me How You Practice series. Now this is going to focus on manifestation practices, which I do follow as I spoke about in my previous video, but this is more about using tarot for manifestation and different spells you can use, things of that nature. So I know some people that are interested in tarot aren't going to also be interested in the esoteric or metaphysical or the occult. But if you are someone that has kind of that crossover like I do, and maybe consider yourself a witch or a bruja or, practicing in some sort of way, this is going to maybe assist you in how to connect certain practices or have certain rituals or magical workings that you can utilize your tarot deck for. So this Madame Pamida's Magical Tarot is great because it helps you connect each of the cards and has a way to kind of tune into each of those different energies, as well as some journal questions, some affirmations, kind of how to tune into that energy whenever we're pulling specific cards. And it's not in any particular order, but a lot of the cards are in here. So it is a really good read if you are someone that is wanting to kind of connect a little bit more in different ways. So I use this book with a deck to kind of help me tune into either what I need to focus on within my own manifestation practice. Because I know for a lot of us, it can be hard to have just this is what it looks like. This is how it'll be. Another book is the Tarot Spell Book, which has a actual ritual, and it shows you how to use each of the cards for a manifestation, magic. So if we are here with the Queen of Wands, it can just kind of talk about different things. So it talks about maybe social anxiety, and it talks about how to actually do a spell to kind of connect a little bit more and work past that energy, as well as some journal questions to kind of help you. So as I've talked about in some of my other videos, you guys know I do like to journal. I do like to write. I do like to connect to that energy because it feels like it's something that's very cleansing and healing and reflective for me. And it is a big part of my daily spiritual practice, which I've talked about in other videos. But I think it's good to have a way to connect to certain energies, especially if you're really wanting to kind of expand on your practice with tarot. So I have these learning tarot cards, which are nice because they have keywords on them and kind of have different the planetary influence, the chakras, things of that nature. I have found that this is a really fun deck to use while also wanting to connect a little bit more to different spells or different energies. Now, with all of my magical workings, I do try to do some sort of divination beforehand. So if I'm going to be doing a candle, if I'm going to be doing a spell, if I'm going to be connecting in some way to whatever's going on, I always try to do some sort of divination first and kind of journal about it a little bit if I can. It doesn't always work, but before I do a spell, I always try to kind of see what I need to focus on, what I need to improve, what might be coming up ahead, things of that nature. So let's say we have here the Ten of Swords. So if I'm focused on what's currently blocking my manifestations, and I'm okay, I get the Ten of Swords, and I'm okay, there's backstabbing, betrayal, enemies, bitching, bad-mouthing, bitterness, things like that. I would look at the swords. So here we have the Ten of Swords. It's funny, I opened right up to it. So rising from the ashes. So here's a ritual spell for rebirth. There's also some journal questions, which, can kind of help you reflect on what does this ending mean for you? When was another time in your life that you experienced a painful ending? How did you handle it? What qualities, traits, and attributes are you going to focus on within yourself after this rebirth? So using the energy of this, I could do a full-on ritual to kind of connect to this energy. So this is a great, like, complementary addition to a practice that you may already have. I know for a lot of us, it's hard to kind of come up with our own understanding of what we need a lot of the times. And I think that this is good for helping us connect a little bit more. Now, if we were to kind of try to find, because these again are not in order, so I'm like trying to find, so we have 143 is where we start with these cards. So let's see what we have here. So we have the Page of Swords starting. Okay, so they are kind of in order. It's been a while since I've read this book. Sorry. It's been a couple of years since I've popped this guy open. I think that this is just going to be the actual, yeah, it's not the entire suit. That's going to be the court card. So I'm looking to see if I have, and a bunch of my books have water damage, so don't judge me too much on that. But I do, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this does have your adventure with the Ten of Swords. So this can kind of help you understand the meaning of the card as well as the key words here, how to kind of affirm yourself. Again, some journaling. What am I ready to let go of once and for all? Being able to say you're done, kind of. I feel like manifestation practices are so much about what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're showing up, and also what you're saying. And so I think that it's good to have these two, as an addition to any sort of manifestation practice that you're doing, and also to gain some clarity on maybe where you're overlooking or maybe struggling to kind of see what needs to be addressed in some way. So I think for a lot of us, we maybe get caught up in the, like, I have to do the spell and it has to be perfect. But I think a lot of like manifesting is so much about everything kind of coming together. It's not just the spell. It's not just the ritual. It is showing up and kind of really reflecting on what you need to fix, what you can do on your end, what you're thinking, how you're affirming yourself. What sort of things, again, what are you consuming? What are you kind of taking in? And that's why I talked about with my daily spiritual practices, where I really focus on all areas and all things all at once, because it's so much easier to kind of get distracted and say, oh, well, this didn't work because maybe I didn't have the right ingredients, or maybe I didn't say the incantation right, or I didn't do it during the right time of the month, or whatever. And I feel like a lot of the magic that a lot of us create happens when we are really fully invested and really fully connected to that energy. So here we have like the Six of Wands. We can kind of look at that energy again and kind of see, okay, what do we got here? So this is like getting noticed at work, a sun water spray to get you noticed. So I think that having something like this that feels very tangible and approachable can be something that is very beneficial, especially if you're someone that's like new to starting out with certain rituals or things of that nature. If you're more into the like thinking aspect of it, a book like this may be better, just because it's not really focused on, where are we at? The Six of Wands. It's not super focused on like actual ritual, but this really talks about how to manifest with that energy. And it can really talk about, what are we doing here? Like, what are we adding into our lives that also resonates with the energy of that card and what we're doing. So I think for many people out there, whenever they're like, oh, my manifestations aren't working, I try to do this or whatever, it's as much belief as it is consistency, and being very aware, very honest, and very much focused on, what are the possibilities for this to happen. I usually tell people, I can sit here and affirm I'm going to win the lottery, but I don't ever play. How am I supposed to win? So it's one of these things where I'm like, yeah, I can affirm and I can say and I can speak these things into existence. But if I'm not pursuing anything physically, if I'm not putting in the work, if I'm not also meeting the universe where it is trying to lead me, then I cannot be upset when things don't turn out the way that I had wished for or anticipated. So I think this is a really good thing to kind of add into your practice if you're kind of looking like, what is a way that I can tune into this? There's also books by, I think it's Nancy Anatucci, I believe is how you pronounce her name, like tarot rituals. I haven't read that one, but it does have really good ratings where it talks about rituals that you can use with tarot. I don't know how many of them are manifestation focused, but if you're looking for more manifesting based books or things that you can kind of utilize in your practice to kind of grow your rituals, to feel a little bit more confident in your magic making, these are really good ones. They really help you connect to that energy in different ways, and everything's pretty approachable. Nothing is too crazy, at least from what I've noticed. And this one has a spell for every single card, as well as teaching you a little bit about like magical thinking, how to create sigils, basic kind of magic things that can help you a little bit more. So I think using something like this in addition to your own kind of manifestation notebook or guidebook or whatever you want to call, and kind of focusing that energy will really help you feel a little bit more grounded and centered in your practice. Another thing that I really like to add in as well is scripting, which is something I haven't really done in some time, but I do want to kind of add back in. So let me know what some of your manifestation practices are. Do you use tarot for manifestation? Have you ever heard of using manifestation and ritual magic with tarot? So I'm curious to see what you guys think. Have a good one. Take care. And as always, make good choices. Bye.